Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from jennycarddesigns. Thanks so much for joining me today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting tutorials and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. Today's video, I have another Chop It Up inspired project for you today. I'm going to take a little bit of inspiration out of my Chop It Up book and cut up some Valentine's Day cards from this paper pack. This is a new paper pack that I picked up today. I was just at Michael's minding my own business and they had $5 paper pads. So of course, naturally, I bought a few. And then I proceeded to call other Michael's locations within my city to see if those locations had $5 paper pads. But seems that I had just hit a jackpot with this particular Michael's I was at. So, quickly flipped through these papers and I found one that I liked for my Valentine's Day cards. And now I'm going to go through my Chop It Up book. I want to see what sort of measurements I could use to cut up my Valentine's Day cards and get the most use out of my paper pad. So this book has all different types of measurements and ideas for your 12 by 12 cardstock, and I knew that I could find what I was looking for in here. I'm just flipping through to show you all the different things inside of this book. I have many more ways than what's in this book on my YouTube channel to cut up 12 by 12 paper pads, and I've shared all of those with you over the last year or so in my Chop It Up series. So I've settled on these 3 by 5 inch tags. And let's get to chopping this pattern paper up. Oh, one thing I want to mention before we do that is that this book is available for purchase. You can buy the actual physical book or just the download copy where you can download and print it yourself. And you can find these books on my website at www.jennycards.ca. I'll also have it linked in the description box down below. So let's get to chopping up this paper. First, I'm going to cut off this little solid color strip on the top of my paper and make sure that it is 12 by 12 inches. And then I'm going to take a look at the orientation of the pattern of my paper. So just be sure when you're making your cuts to be mindful of the orientation. Okay, so I'm going to pop this into my trimmer, and my first cut is going to be at 10 inches. This little piece that we cut off that measures 2 by 12 inches, we're going to set that aside and we'll come back to that later. Okay, for the second cut, without turning the paper, I'm just going to scoot it over a little bit and cut this piece in half at 5 inches. So we're going to have two pieces that measure 5 by 12. Okay, and now we're going to start cutting this down across that 12-inch side. We're going to cut these down at 3-inch increments. So my first cut is going to be at 9 inches, and then my second cut at 6 inches, and then lastly, my third cut at 3 inches. This is going to give us 4 pieces that measure 3 by 5 inches. And then we're going to repeat that for the other piece of cardstock. Again, across a 12-inch side, we're going to cut at 9 inches, 6 inches, and 3 inches, giving us 4 more pieces that measure 3 by 5. So far, we've been able to cut 8 little cards, and we still have the extra strip that we haven't touched yet. I feel like this is a perfect size for Valentine's Day cards. They're not too big and they're not too small. So next, I decided that I wanted to put some colored cardstock on the back of these Valentine's Day cards. So I grabbed a piece of pink colored cardstock from my stash. This is a 12 by 12 inch piece, and I'm going to cut it down the exact same way as we had cut the first pattern paper. So I'm going to cut at 10 inches and then at 5 inches, and then make my cuts at 9 and 6 and 3. Then we have enough pieces of pink paper to back all of that pattern paper. So now I'm going to cut this piece down. I've decided what I wanted to do with it. I kind of branched out from my template for my Chop It Up book, and I decided to make 2 bookmarks with it. So I'm just going to cut it in half at 6 inches. So I'll get 2 pieces that measure 2 by 6. Okay, and then I'm all done with my Chop It Up book. Now it's time to kind of plan what I want to do with these cards. So I've decided I want to put some sentiments on the pink paper, and I'm going to use my Misty for that. And then I'm going to use this stamp set from jennycarddesigns, and it's called the Sketched Wreath Builder. And this pink paper has one side that's textured and one side that's smooth. So I want to make sure that I'm using the smooth side for my stamping. I just think I'll get a better result. So I'm going to pull out the little greeting inside of this stamp set that says Happy Valentine's Day. And then there's also a to and a from. So I thought that was kind of perfect for these little cards. I'm going to place these greetings on my cardstock where I want them to be and make sure that they're nice and straight. I'll pick them up with the door of the Misty and just double check using the grid lines on the door of my Misty to make sure that they're nice and straight. Okay, now I'm going to wipe away the manufacturing residue, as I had never stamped this Happy Valentine's Day stamp before. I've got a Hero Arts ink pad. This is Raspberry Jam. It's such a beautiful color. I'm going to ink that up really good. And then I'm going to close the door of my Misty and press and give a second for that ink to transfer onto that cardstock. And I'm going to push really good. I've got a little pressure tool here that I made out of a glass paperweight. And I'm just going to use that to help me give good even pressure. All right, and then this is what my Valentine's Day card will look like. Super cute, and I'm going to go through this and stack all of my pieces up into my Misty and stamp them all up one at a time until they're done. And then I'm also going to stamp the back of my bookmarks as well. I thought those were cute. All right, so once that's done, I'm going to clean off my stamp. Now this stamp gets super stained from this ink, and that's totally fine. I'll just use some stamp cleaner to get it all cleaned up. I've got this jennycarddesigns stamp cleaner, and it'll make sure that I don't transfer any of that ink the next time I plan to use it, even if it is stained. All right, so once that's all done, I get the stamps put back onto the carrier sheet. I'm going to start adhering these pieces together. I'm just using some tape runner, and I'm going to apply that to the back of the pattern paper, and I'm using the edge of my scoreboard to help me line these up. So I pop the pink piece into my scoreboard and attach my front panel, and I won't worry if they don't line up. I'll come back and trim those later. So I'll get those all adhered together, and then I'll take them to my paper cutter. I'll just trim off any of those edges that are sticking out or not lined up properly. The papers are never going to be 100% perfect every time, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll just trim them away and make them look all pretty. Okay, let's move along to the next step here. As with many of us during the pandemic, I had really fell in love with shopping on Amazon. And this is a little tool that I had come across on Amazon. This punch is designed for punching holes through plastic name badge cards. And it's got 3 different sections to punch 3 different holes. So it's got a corner rounder, a hole punch, and then this sort of like badge clip hole, which I thought was really cool for slipping ribbon into it. So I'm going to go ahead and punch all of the holes in the top of my bookmarks and my Valentine's Day cards. And then I'm going to round all of the corners. So there's a little guide that shows you where to line up your pieces to get onto the right part that you want to punch. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to learn a little bit more about this particular punch. I think it's a great little tool to have in your crafty space, and it's got a lot of uses. Anyways, okay, let's move on to the next part. The reason why I had chosen to use this particular punch today was because I wanted to use this black sheer ribbon that I have, and it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm just going to fold them in half and slip them through that little hole, and then feed the ribbon tails through that little loop and then pull it tight. And I'm just being careful because it is paper and it can't handle, pulling too hard. And this ribbon is a little stiff, so I'm just being careful not to, break it and rip it off. At one point I did rip one of them off. It happens. So I just trimmed the rest of the top away and problem solved. This one just doesn't get a pretty ribbon. Okay, so our Valentine's Day cards are complete. You can really take these to the next level and step them up. I'm going to add some gold pearls as an embellishment to the front of one of these Valentine's Day cards and one to one of the bookmarks, just to show you that, you can really elevate these. You can add die cut words or shapes on the front of these. You can really level them up as much time as you want to spend on your Valentine's Day cards. If you only have like 10 minutes, I'm a last minute Larry. I don't know, I've said that before. I always wait for the last second for everything. So if you're like me and you need Valentine's Day cards for tomorrow for school, then here you go. It's Sunday, February 13th. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and I had to make these up really quickly. So yeah, you could make these tonight if you wanted to, just before you go to bed. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate the support as always. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your crafty friends. Coming up on screen are a couple of videos I think you may enjoy, including the entire playlist for all of my Chop It Up videos that I have thus far in my series. Thanks so much for joining me. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!